Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 183 of the Arc Junkies podcast. Today's guest is Sam Hackman from Fortitude Welding and Fabrication. In this episode, we talk about his journey of being an employee for 13 years before deciding to strike out on his own and set up his own business as a welder and fabricator. Before we get into it, a quick word from the folks that support the show and allow me to keep putting out fresh content for y'all. Today's episode of the Arc Junkies podcast is brought to you by Everlast Welding. I just used the Cyclone 200E once again this weekend to crank out another side job for a local small business owner who does strength coaching. Having this machine in the shop has been a blessing. It's lightweight, super portable, ridiculously easy to use and set up, and it produces great welds. This machine has paid for itself several times over. It's a dual voltage machine, meaning you can run it off of 110 or 220 volts. It also features a super bright LED display, which works out great for when you're using it outdoors, so you can check on and adjust your wire feed and voltage. It's also capable of running a spool gun for all of your aluminum work. This machine also makes switching polarity to run flux core super simple, and you don't even need any tools to do it. And the best part is, right now it's only $639. Head on over to everlastwelders.com and get yours today. And if you decide to get any machine that comes with a stock foot pedal, just use Arc Junkies in the comment section to check out and get a free Nova foot pedal and TIG torch upgrade. It's absolutely free for you. That's a $100 value. We're also brought to you by Fronius USA, and up until this Friday, July 31st, they have a great deal for listeners to the Arc Junkies podcast. Right now, when you buy any Transpocket 180 battery-powered stick and DC TIG welder, you get a free welding jacket and a pair of gloves. Weighing in at just 19.6 pounds, this little thing packs a punch and allows you to weld completely wirelessly off the internal batteries. How cool is that? No need to run an extension cord or find an outlet or tote a generator around with you. It's the ultimate portable machine, and it also has the low cellulose mode so you can run 60-10. The Transpocket 180 can run up to 5 30-second diameter welding electrodes. This machine also comes with a rolling hard side case to store the machine and all the accessories. Now you can weld anywhere as long as you can get to the spot where you need to weld. Out on the trail, out on the water, up in a man lift, at the boat ramp or the hunting camp, the possibilities are endless. Get your Transpocket 180, the free jacket, and the free gloves today when you go to shopweldingsupplies.com/ArcJunkies and put all the items in the cart and use Arc Junkies in the discount box at checkout. But you gotta act soon. This deal is only available now through the end of July. They're also offering free shipping. We're also brought to you by Rockmount Research and Alloys, and they've got some big news. Now you can get all the great Rockmount electrodes, welding wires, and consumables you've come to know and love through MSC Industries. Just go to mscdirect.com and check out their full listing of Rockmount products, and you can order directly through their website. And the best part is, they're offering free shipping on all orders. Rockmount rods and wires are designed to weld stronger and last longer than other electrodes. Stop putting band-aids on your repairs and get the job done right the first time, every time with Rockmount. And now with their partnership with MSC, it's even easier to get their products in your shop or home with mscdirect.com. Rockmount has a rod or wire for every maintenance or repair situation. Whether it's dissimilar metals, bolt extractions, wear plates, hard facing, gouging or cutting, they've got you covered. Rockmount rods are engineered to give you the best possible outcome in the worst case scenario. Because let's face it, that's the reality of our working environments. Maintenance and repair welds aren't done in the same environment as initial fabrication, and that's where Rockmount shines. So check out their full catalog today and get free shipping when you order using mscdirect.com. All right, you know what time it is. Fire up your machine, drop your hood, and turn me up 5.
You're listening to the Arc Junkies podcast. Helping you make every weld better than your last with each episode. And now your host, Jason Becker.
All right, so what's going on, Sam? It's a long time no see, man.
Yeah, it has. It's been 2 Fab Techs ago. Well, the one we missed because of COVID, and the one before that.
Yeah, I was hoping to get back last
so it's
year.
Been a while.
Yeah, we got to do the ESOB University. We ran the 3G, 4G stick demo.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Was that your first time teaching in front of a large crowd?
Yeah. I don't need to do that again.
Yes. It's a little nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Start asking questions. Everybody's kind of got like a blank stare on their face. You're like, man, am I reaching them or what? But no, it was a pretty good demo, I thought. I mean, going through and kind of just explaining how 3G fit up goes and 4G and going through the process, because a lot of people, they're not familiar with the testing for some reason, so it's always good. And a lot of employers, I've noticed, they do that 3G, 4G test, for employment.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the entryway into structural work.
Yeah, for the most part. So did you go to school for it, or did you kind of just learn, by, getting into a shop?
So I went to Votech in high school. I had actually signed up for machining and went and did the tour of Votech, signed up for machining, and came home, told my dad, signed up for machining. He's like, no, you don't want to do that. He's like, you want to go for welding. Hindsight, I kind of would have liked to still go for machining because I think that would have been good, but no. So that was pretty much the extent of my schooling. I went right out of Votech into a custom suspension shop that built suspension for drag race cars and that kind of thing. Worked there for a year, and in that time, I learned how to do everything there was to do there, and I was like top guy already. And at that point, I wasn't learning anymore, and I was basically just going to work and staring at the same brick wall every day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think
go
ahead.
So I got out of that and went to work for my last employer. And my father actually runs that company. He started that company 20 plus years ago with the original owner. And that's where I've been for the past 13 years.
So was your dad a welder?
Yeah. So he was in the Marines, and in his early 20s went and worked in quarries, asphalt plants, and the same thing basically that I did for the past 13 years at that job.
Okay. Yeah, I've always looked back because we have a CNC program at our school, and that's one program that I'd like to take is because I think CNC and welding, they just go together so well, to being able to machine all your own parts out, fix all your screw ups, and then, be able to weld it back together or, assemble things. I think just having those two skill sets and having access to that type of equipment, man, there's nothing you can't do with that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fortunate that a friend of mine has a cylinder shop up the street. So he does a lot of machining work for the cylinders, and typically he's my first go-to if I need something machined. But I've been scouring Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and stuff for a mill because I would have never thought that I could use a mill as much as I could.
Oh, they come in so handy just for milling down parts or servicing things, or we use them a lot to take the backing strip off in the face of the weld before we do a bend test. But I also do it for precision drilling and stuff like that because you can set your zero and then that once you hit that spot, that's exactly where it needs to be. So I like the added level of precision that machining gives to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's definitely a good investment. If you were to go out and pick one of those up, like old school Bridgeport or a knee mill or anything like that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I have a little bit more room now. I moved into a new shop down the street. I'm just a block away now. I was working in my 28 by 40 pole barn at home and moved down the street. I'm sharing the space with a couple of guys that I do a bunch of work for, and they're really only in there unless they have a project going on, and typically I'm building their projects for them anyway. So I'm sharing that building with them. It's a 4,800 square foot building, so plenty of room now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's quite a bit of space, man. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is you worked for, like you said, you worked for a company previously for 13 years. And then I'd follow you on Instagram and stuff. And then I seen one day you just kind of pulled the pin and started up your own thing. So I kind of wanted to talk about that because there's a lot of people in the audience that, they're thinking about starting their own business or they want to develop a side hustle so that one day they can start their own business. And, you just did it. And obviously it's been successful and fruitful for you because you had to move into a bigger shop. So what was kind of like, how did you know that you were ready to take that leap of faith and, quit working for somebody else and kind of start doing your own thing?
Well, I didn't really. Like you said, it was a leap of faith. I got a lot of responsibilities like most people do. I got wife and kids and house and vehicles and everything else to pay for. And like I said, I worked for the previous employer for 13 years. So that was all I knew. I started my own LLC 4 years ago, actually, just kind of as a liability thing because I started doing stuff on the side for people, and my brother had just started his own business as well, and he said, it'd probably be good if you started an LLC because of just what you do, the liability of things, and it kind of just slowly grew word of mouth. I didn't do any advertising, and I still don't. And it got to the point that I was working 16, 18 hours a day, like almost every single day of the week. And I pushed the envelope like that for a really long time. And it got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And I had about a month's worth of work lined up and back and forth with the wife on it. And basically she said, ultimately, it's your decision. And yeah, it's been great so far.
And that's a big decision to make because, like you said, you got a lot of responsibilities. You're a husband, a father, your provider. The bills aren't going to stop just because the work stops coming in. And
that's absolutely right.
And word of mouth, I think, is the most powerful form of advertising. At least when I ran my small business, I didn't advertise anywhere. You can do free ads through Facebook Marketplace and like back then Craigslist and stuff like that for mobile welding and fabrication repairs and stuff like that. And I never had to do any advertising. Like I did a job for one person and they referred somebody else to me and, just kept going like that. So everybody just kept referring, hey man, this guy, he shows up. And I think that's the biggest part is like building that reputation, building your brand and building your name is like, they're like, hey, call up Jason, Metal Trends, he'll come out there, he shows up, he does everything he says he's going to do. And, he kind of the type of guy that under promises and over delivers. And that's how you build your name, your reputation. And, that's when your phone starts ringing off the hook.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It only takes one pissed off customer to put you in a bad place.
Yeah. What's that? They say 1-0 shit can ruin a million attaboys or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, bad gas travels fast in a small town.
So, that's right. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of my, I guess if you want to call it success, is I grew up in a small town. I live in the same town I've lived my entire life. So I know a lot of people and they know a lot of people. And I think that's helped me quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, being in a small town.
Yeah. Yeah. And Instagram hasn't done as much for me as far as workload goes, but just having a Facebook business page and targeting the local area has done a considerable amount for me as well.
Okay. Have you tried any ad space on Facebook?
No, I haven't. Right now my backlog's like 2 months and
Nice.
it just keeps pushing out. So I haven't done any advertising. I've been very, very fortunate.
Okay. So how did you kind of start off when you were working for that other company? You just like word of mouth, same thing, just started doing stuff on the side, like little things here and there? What type of stuff were you working on?
Yeah, pretty much. Just little things here and there. At that point, my friend had just bought his cylinder shop, and I had started doing some hydraulic cylinders for him. And he referred me to a few people. And my brother, who started his own business, had started his own gym. So I had built some equipment for him, and he reposted all the work I was doing, and that's kind of how all that started.
That's funny. I just had a guy that the company that I get all my supplements and stuff like protein powders and all that stuff. They're here locally in a small town, and he reached out to me on Instagram, and he wants me to build some gym equipment for him. So I got that going on this weekend.
Yeah,
I think that's a market that a lot of people really don't think of, man. But all you really need is some like square tube, couple pieces of pipe. You can start building sleds. There's just all kinds of stuff you can build for a lot cheaper than what they sell it for.
Yeah, absolutely. The markup on that stuff's extreme. And yeah, you just start off small, weight trees and sleds and benches and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can make a killing doing that. That's the one I did CrossFit a while back, and that company, I was going to start doing work for them, but they went under before, or they didn't go under. They sold the business out to another company that they kind of came in, bought it, and they under new management, and that whole deal went south. So I wasn't able to do that for them. But I was going to start building sleds and stuff for them because it's a lot cheaper than what they're able to get commercially. Because like you said, the markup on that stuff is just ridiculous for what you can build it for, the amount of time. I mean, you're looking at 3, 4, sometimes 500% markup on what the stuff actually is.
That's wild.
It's insane. So once you started doing that stuff, I mean, like, what other type of repairs were you doing? Were you doing like in the field type stuff, or like just stuff that you can do locally in your garage?
Yeah, mostly stuff in my garage. A lot of furniture. I got hooked up with a couple custom furniture companies nearby, and just one-off stuff: table legs, table frames, chairs, that kind of thing. And I mean, now I'm doing large-scale ornamental iron railings and spiral staircases, and another big one that started a lot of side work for me was fire trucks. At the time, my father-in-law was fire chief at the local volunteer fire company, and he knows everybody. So he got me in with a lot of the surrounding fire companies and built a lot of accessories and tool mounts and things like that for those guys. And again, word of mouth, especially in the fire community, is huge.
Oh, nice. I got a buddy down here, Jim Bollinger. He's a full-time firefighter, YouTuber, but he runs Do Right Fabrication on YouTube, but he also does welding and machining and all that stuff. So he builds a lot of the different accessory mounts and all that stuff for, the local fire department. So if he's not, on call, he's usually building parts and pieces and stuff for other local fire departments. And then you go out for training and they see it and they're like, hey, where'd you get that? And, he gets more calls to put more stuff together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's another crazy markup, fire truck parts.
Yeah.
I was able to do the one project for like 20% of what one of the larger actual fire company fabrication shops were able to do it for.
Mm-hmm. Doing like a lot of diamond plate type stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And even just plain aluminum, hit it with a DA sander, all the stuff that goes inside the boxes.
Okay. Dude, if you're doing like handrails and stuff, you said you're doing like ornamental handrails and guardrails, you got to check out, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's Salt City Steel. He makes like the little picket finders, so you can just spread it out and set it and lock it in place, and then you know exactly where all your pickets need to be.
Yeah, I just actually followed him this week. He reached out to me, and I just followed him this week.
Yeah,
and what an awesome tool. I mean, for everything, even for just weld spacing, because I'm a stickler for having equal weld spacing on things. That drives me crazy.
Yeah, if you need parts on center, you just shift it one. You set it, and then you can shift it over whatever your pitch is, and then boom, you nailed it. And everything's nice, symmetrical, smooth. But that's like the biggest thing when doing pickets is trying to divide it up and figure out exactly, how many pickets do I need in here? What's the spacing got to be? I don't know where you're at, but if like the local laws or the regulations, but I know down here you can't have any more than 4 inches between pickets. So
yeah, that's the same up here as far as I know.
Divide it up, keep everything equal, and it's like, damn it, man, like it's 4 1/4 works perfect. So you got to shift everything back over and redo the math. I've tried using spacers and stuff, and it never adds up for some reason. But I wanted to check one of those tools out, but I'm not doing many guardrails and handrails anymore.
Yeah, I've tried to do it that way too. Cut some wood blocks and start from one side until you get to the other end. It just doesn't work out.
I did that the first time and welded everything out as I was going because like my math, I'm thinking my math is on point. It looks good on the calculator, and the numbers are right. I'm gonna run it, and I set up everything in there, 2 2x4s, one at the top, one at the bottom, and just slapped everything together. And next thing I get to the end, and I'm like, shit, you gotta cut the whole thing apart. That sucks. And now you waste all the time.
Yeah. One of the last ones I did was all hammered pickets, and man, those things are a pain. You can't work off anything with them. I use the fireball shims underneath, but because they're so hammered, you kind of slide them back and forth until you get to the right elevations.
Mm-hmm. You ever done like beer belly pickets?
No.
Oh, you ever seen them?
I guess I probably would. If I saw them, I'd know what they would be, but I can't picture them off the top of my head.
If you look from like a side profile, it comes down straight, and then it just kind of loops out.
Oh, yeah, I know
and
what you mean.
Kicks back in. Yeah.
Okay. No, I haven't got into any of those yet. Those are cool, though.
Yeah, they're pretty. I never had a chance to do them, but the company I work for, they were cranking them out all the time. But I always try to figure out how you keep it all standing upright and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I'd probably go back to Fireball Square and clamp them on that way and keep them straight up and down that way.
Yeah, Jason's got a lot of cool stuff. Do you see the new shop that he's building?
Yeah,
That thing is
like
insane.
everything he does, he's overkill.
Yeah, it's just one dude too, man. He's like putting the mezzanine in there, and then like he's doing tutorials on how to put up the stairs and get the rise and the run. And like every time I get a chance, if I see if he posts one story, he posts 30. So I'll sit there and like I'll carve out time. It's like, oh shit, he's got something up. I'll check that out later when I can actually sit and pay attention, because he's dropping solid knowledge on you.
Yeah, for sure. You almost have to set aside time. He usually puts up like half an hour stories at a shot.
He's doing like, cutting oxyacetylene, cutting tutorials and everything. And then like, how, spacing out his equipment and rigging things up and bringing it in. He's always got like, the dude's like a mad scientist of tools.
He is.
He's got a lot of cool stuff. So with, in addition to like your furniture work and like the fire department stuff, like what else do you have going on?
Right now I'm building a pair of sliding barn doors. Those are getting powder coated and getting frosted glass in them. And those go a couple towns over in like a group workspace type of building. And they have some other furniture in there that I made through this other company that I share the space with.
Okay.
So I got those going on. I just made a huge aluminum base for a 14-foot concrete table. Made it all out of 4-inch, 8-inch wall, 4-inch square aluminum. It's 12 feet long, like 30 inches high and 30 inches wide. And it gets a 3.5-inch thick, 30 or 40-inch wide and 14-foot long concrete top on it. And there's a 6-foot cutout in the middle of it. And I made an aluminum trough that drops down into it, and then they can fill it with ice and drinks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty slick. So do you have to get any of this stuff engineered, or did they have prints, or is this something they just walk in and kind of, here's what we want, build it? Yeah,
this one was pretty much just here's what we want, build it. Had a reference picture from another site online, and there's this one was about an hour away as the customer, and he found me through Instagram, funny enough.
Oh, nice.
So this is the first time I got to work with him, but looking forward to do some more with him, because he does some really cool stuff, concrete sinks and all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Okay, so Instagram's actually paying off.
Yeah. Not only workload, but the knowledge. I never wanted an Instagram, and my wife set one up for me like, I don't know, 6-8 years ago. And I thought, this is stupid. And I saw a couple welding pictures on there, and I started putting welding pictures on there, and man, it blew up.
Yeah. It's pretty neat how it works, man. And that's the coolest thing. That's why I get on there. It's like, people are like, oh, you're wasting your time on that. And it's like, no, I'm actually learning some stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people putting some serious knowledge out there as far as like little tips of the, tricks of the trade, and, how they do things and what their welds look like, and, how they're building things and some of the stuff that they're building. And you can replicate that because you've got the knowledge and skills and abilities, and you get to check out like, what are some of the best tools for doing, just like that Salt Lake City guy. Like, I had no idea something like that existed. I've always used like Construction Master Pro and figured it out that way. But hell, there's a tool now. Had I not had Instagram, I wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah. Heck, I mean, if it wasn't for Instagram or Facebook, I wouldn't even know what a gas lens is.
Yeah. And
they didn't have them in Votech.
Yeah. And it's free advertising.
Yep.
I mean, so you can promote your business and post all the cool stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
So now you're getting business from it. So it's paying out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've gotten so many awesome opportunities out of it. Ambassadors with different brands and going to Fab Tech. I would have probably never known about Fab Tech.
Are you going to go this year?
No, I don't think I'm going this year. If it was in November, maybe, but since it's only 2-3 months away, I got so much workload and so many expenses right now, with just starting out the business full time anyway. And it seems like everything I do, I got to buy more tools. So I'm constantly spending.
That's the hard part, man, is you start getting in there and you're like, damn, there's got to be an easier way. Oh, there is. I just got to throw money at it.
Yeah, that's right.
So what were some of the...
It takes it to make it.
Yeah, what was some of the first pieces of equipment that you bought, like as a small business owner, or being like, kind of starting your side hustle? What were some of the, because usually when you go to work, you've got all the tools. You just got to bring in, like, everybody brings their favorite hood and, you got your favorite jackets and, like, small hand tools and stuff. But what was some of the first things you invested in once you were like, okay, I'm going to start doing side work at home?
So the first thing I got was the Miller Multimatic 200, the black suitcase, the Pelican box style one.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing made me a killing. Like, it paid for itself tenfold. I picked that up used, barely used. It came with the original bottle of gas that only had like a couple hundred CFH out of the bottle.
Oh, damn.
And that thing, like I said, that was awesome. I mean, I used it everywhere for everything. That was my only source of welding at home for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. So what'd you get into after that? Like, you get a fab table or saws or anything like that?
Yeah, the next thing I bought was the weld tables. I got the 3x4, and then I ended up buying the 1-foot wings that went on that. And I used that. That was my main fab table up until maybe 6 months ago. I built my own 4x8. I had the top water jet out of 3/8 plate and made the frame out of 3x3 by 3/16 square tube.
Okay, so it's like a full fabrication table.
Had my own. Yeah. The tab and slot table.
Okay.
Yeah, and got a torch set up after that, and shortly thereafter, ESAB had reached out to me about doing a demo for the Cutmaster 60. So I did that, and that's pretty much how it all started. That Multimatic, the plasma cutter, torch set, and that little fab table.
Yeah. That's my first fab table. I'm looking at it now because I do the podcast from the garage. It's that little rinky dink. It's probably like 2 foot by 3 foot. It's foldable from Harbor Freight.
Okay.
But I mean, I banged out enough work on that, I think they ranged like $75, and with the 20% coupon you can download online, it was a hell of a deal, and then I can pick it up and kind of move it out of the way, but it's got like the slots in there so you can clamp everything and keep everything flat and square. But after a while, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely got to get into something better. But I mean, for the longest time, that worked because I do a lot of restaurant repairs. So a lot of their accessories and cookware and stuff like that, I can bring home and do it right there on the table. It was the perfect height. Obviously, it was a little small, but I was able to crank up enough work to, and reinvest a lot of that money back into the company.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. I just bought parts and pieces as I could, and really up until I went full time, that's where all that money went. People were like, "Oh, you're probably making a killing working full time and working on the side." No, I spent all my money on tools.
Yeah,
and I still spend most of my money on tools.
That's a hard habit to break too, because you're like, "Oh man, this can make me so much money," and then you buy it, like the work's not coming in for that type of tool, and you're like, "Shit."
Yeah.
Then when you need it, man, it's nice to have. Like I did quite a bit of work doing those baskets and stuff, and there was a guy that wanted me to build like another Santa Maria style cooking grill and everything, and I was like, all right, I need to get a saw, so I went out and bought an Evolution saw, and it works freaking great. And then it turns out that I sent him the price and everything that he was going to need, and he's like, well, instead of two, because he wanted one for him and one for his brother. He's like, give me a quote on one. So I was like, okay. And it's all stainless steel too. So I was like, okay, and this is before all the prices went up and everything with all the material.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like right around September, October last year. And so I gave him the price for one. He's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to do it. And it's like, damn it. I just bought a brand new saw and I got a new fab table. Like it was going to, this job was going to justify me buying all this shit. But now, I got it. So yeah, you buy the stuff for the work. And I was like, okay, I imagine you'll come back to me at some point and be like, hey, I need to get it done. But since then, I've been able to use the saw and use the table and, a lot of the other stuff that I bought to do that job for other jobs. So now I'm set up, for doing some of those things. And it sucked parting with the money at the time. But it's paid me back. And I think that's the biggest thing is like invest in quality tools that you can afford at the time. Because it doesn't have to be top of the line stuff. Like I said, my first table was from Harbor Freight, invest what you can at the time. And then, as you start building up and, you can start investing in better tools.
Yep. Yeah. I always try and buy the best thing that I can at the time and take care of it.
Yeah.
That's the other big thing. I mean, I worked my previous job. I was a foreman there, so I ran a Dodge 5500, 11-foot service body, packed full of tools. I weighed like 17.5. That was at its lightest. And yeah, I mean, we got guys from all over, and that's hard to get guys to take care of stuff, especially when you're working out in the elements. We're working out asphalt plants, concrete plants, quarries, stone crushers, that kind of thing, and trying to get guys to take care of stuff is tough.
Yeah, they don't treat it like it's their own.
No, that's for sure.
So now,
but yeah, the next thing I bought after that was probably the Grizzly bandsaw, the 7x14 horizontal. And I used that for probably two years, and then I bought the LS 3000. That's my main cutting source now. And I also bought the Slugger 14-inch cold cut chop saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that for pretty much like all tube steel, angle iron, smaller stuff, because it's so much faster than the regular bandsaw. Even though the blades are, I don't know, 100, 150 bucks, whatever they are, the time you save in cutting that way justifies it in my mind.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. This segment of the Arc Junkies podcast is brought to you by Strong Hand Tools. I just used the Rhino cart once again this weekend, and it made my project much easier to maintain accuracy and keep all the parts within tolerance. The table and the 66-piece fixturing kits makes setting up your projects a breeze. Check out their full line of products today at stronghandtools.com/arcjunkies. We're also brought to you by AHP Welders, which are the ideal machines for students, home hobbyists, makers, and those looking to learn to weld on their own. You can get into stick, MIG, and TIG welding right now for under $1,000 without having to sacrifice performance. I've used those machines several times in the past, and they've performed great. Get your AHP machine today at ahpwelds.com. And now let's get back into the show. Yeah, that's the thing is like, okay, I can get by a lot faster, so I'm actually, you're making more money the faster that you can work, even though you got to spend a little bit more on the blade and stuff. I imagine, because now you're in charge of the equipment, you're treating it how it's supposed to be treated, and it's lasting a lot longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the big thing is like taking care of everything that you have and making sure that, you service it correctly and, you take your time to put it away and keep everything sharp and don't tear stuff up as, don't just be reckless with it. The stuff, it lasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I ran I worked with guys with the ironworkers, man, and they could wreck a portaband in like 2-3 weeks. I mean, brand new portaband, wreck it 2-3 weeks. And I've had the same Milwaukee portaband for like the past 7-8 years. And it still cuts clean and true. And that's what I did all my cutting with before I got the Evolution saw. So like square tube, pipe, plate, a lot of stuff. If I could get it, within the throat of that portaband, that's what I was using to cut with. And then, I finally broke down and bought the chop saw because I was like, there's no way I'm cutting up all that square tube and 45-degree miters and all these other things. I was like, I'm going to get something, that's built for that task. I can get by with, you can get by a lot with a chop saw, with a portaband and a cutoff wheel. But, having access to a chop saw and being able to make your miters and stuff like that and keep everything nice and consistent, it's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to make a lot more money and you're going to work a lot less harder that way. Yeah,
for sure. The portaband is a seriously underrated tool. I mean, that was aside from a torch on heavier stuff, that was our main source of cutting out in the field. Mm-hmm. It was just throw it on a shelf in the utility body. It doesn't take up hardly any space. And again, I mean, we cut anything that would fit inside there.
Yeah, I freaking love mine.
4-inch Schedule 80, 4-inch Schedule 40. I mean, once it got up to like 6-inch Schedule 40, then we're torch cutting it. But yeah, those things worth their weight in gold out in the field at least.
Yeah, it's definitely a good investment. That's kind of what I started my business with. I had a Lincoln had just rolled out the 210 MP, and it was like multi-process. So you could do stick, MIG, TIG, flux core, and then you could hook a spool gun up for all the aluminum stuff. So I bought one of those and then made a little bit of money off that, was able to get the portaband. I had a grinder because every welder's got a grinder. But I went ahead and bought a 6-inch cutoff or a 6-inch grinder at that point. And then between all that stuff, I was able to keep everything in a small little gang box other than the welder. and just go out and do mobile repairs. And hell, the welding machine that I bought, I didn't even pay for it. I worked for a guy that was like, hey, if you do this, that, and the other thing around here in the shop, like I had to patch up a Connex box and like fix some pontoons, the floats on a pontoon, and did a bunch of welding work that he didn't want to do at his shop. He's like, you put in the hours and I'll buy you that machine. Done. So
you can't beat that.
No, I traded labor for my first welding machine. I still got it. And, it's a good running machine. But like after that, I was able to make money off of that to buy other tools. So I didn't have to cut everything with a cutoff wheel and a grinder. I was able to get the portaband and start doing a lot of things. And I did a lot of repairs for like stairs and handrails out at apartment complexes, and doing restaurant repairs. And I mean, it paid really good money. And just having that small bit of tools and I had one of those little tiny, knack boxes, just like the really small ones, or actually it's a rigid box, but it's really tiny toolbox. But I was able to throw that in the back of the truck, fit 90% of my tools in there, and throw the welder in the back seat of the truck so it didn't get rained on. And I did mobile welding repairs and on-site fabrication for 2 years just out of that little bit of tools. Yeah,
it all depends on what you get into. I mean, in the field, and doing repair work like that, you can really get by with pretty minimal equipment. Here in the shop, doing shop fab work, kind of need a lot more.
Yeah.
It's all whatever's in your area and whatever kind of work you want to get into. I did the mobile thing for, like I said, 13 years, and once in a while I still go out and do it. An asphalt plant about an hour and a half away called me last week and had emergency breakdown. They ripped the drive drum right off the shaft. So I went down there and helped them out, but it was like 97 degrees and I was in the blazing sun torching and welding all day long. And that was the first time back doing that kind of work in like 4 months. Like, man, I did not miss this shit at all.
Yeah. Glad I work in a shop now.
My new shop's air conditioned, heated, air conditioned. Yeah.
Damn, you can't beat that. Yeah, I think that's one of the most underrated sources or tools you could get is an air conditioner in your shop.
Yeah, man.
Where were you working out of?
So I was up until maybe 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I was working here in my home shop. I have a 28 by 40 full building I put up 2 years ago, just to do my own side stuff. And I told my wife if it lasts 2 years, I'd be happy with that before I outgrow it. And it's almost 2 years on the dot that I'm down in another shop down the street. It just worked out well that became available with the guys that I'm doing a bunch of work for, that I'm able to share that space with them. And it's just a block down the street. I just hop on my son's pit bike. If I don't know how to take anything back and forth, I hop on my son's pit bike. I just ride it down the street to the shop.
Oh, damn, that's not bad. Now, I see you got him helping running the slugger drill.
Yeah.
The mag drill.
Yeah. Whenever he takes interest, I certainly don't push it on him, but whenever he wants to hang out, I try and teach him a little bit here and there whenever I can.
Yeah. That's the hard part, because I don't have an air conditioned shop, and trying to get my kids out of the house, down here in Florida, and it's like, hey, you guys want to come hang out in the garage and weld? And they're like, no, it's stay inside. I'm gonna play Roblox or whatever. It's too damn hot out there. My son just turned 12, so I'm hoping he develops a little bit more of an interest. I had him out here one day, back during the cooler months, because I'll throw a jacket and a hood on him and stuff, and we ran a couple beads on the MIG welder, and Lincoln sells these little it's a kit. It's like an eagle. So it's like 3 pieces, and you put the whole thing, you assemble the whole thing together, and then you get to weld it out. So he got to make one of those. So it's pretty neat.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I can actually send them to you, because I stole their cut file. I cut them out on the CNC plasma cutter. So I took a die chem. I took the plates as soon as I got them, and I bought the first kit for like $6. But I took die chem and coated the pieces and let it dry, and then put it on the copy machine at work. And then I just scanned the image to me. So it just made a PDF. And then I just took that into the Torchmate system and exported it into a CAD file, and it made the G code and everything. And I was like, cool. So then we'll make, I'll take a full 4x8 sheet, 1/8 inch material, and then I'll cut it up, and then we'll do like weld demo days, or, anytime we have like a tour come through the shop of different schools and stuff, we'll let the students run a little bit of welding. And then I got my buddy Kyle Linko. He just sent me a cut profile for some dinosaurs. He does a dino camp And next week we've got a bunch of students. There's like 9 or 10 students, high school students, that are doing like a over the summer type camp. So we're showing them a little bit about each one of our programs. So I'm going to bring them in there and let them weld dinosaurs next week. But
that's awesome.
just getting people interested in welding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I
my
mean,
kids
I don't
take.
care. I said to my wife, I don't care what the kids get into, but at least they're going to know how.
Yeah, they
If
should
that's
at
the
least,
way they want to go, at least they'll know how.
yeah, they should at least learn some sort of a trade,
Yeah.
or at least learn that I don't want to do that when I grow up, so I'm gonna stick to this.
Yeah, I want to do what Dad does.
Yeah. And I wish I would have taken a lot more interest in the stuff that my dad was doing when I was growing up, and he was like a diesel mechanic and a heavy equipment mechanic and all this crazy stuff, heavy equipment operator, and he was a welder too, but not by trade, and that's kind of where I learned, hanging out with him. I didn't really identify with any of the other stuff that he was doing. I really didn't see a whole lot of interest in it, but I watched him cut a piece of chain one day, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and then got into welding the following semester. But I really wish I would have paid attention, because he's not wrenching anymore, man. He's old. He's like, I don't want to bend over the front of cars and trucks anymore, or climb up on top of them and fix them. So he's slowly retired.
That's pretty much where my dad is as well.
Yeah, he went out and got his crane endorsement, so now he's running cranes and stuff. So he's put his wrenches down and stuff. But it'd be nice to like understand and work on small engines and shit like that. But it's like I said, man, never had the time, or I had the time, but never really had the interest. So I'm hoping my kids develop the interest of learning how to weld, or at least fabrication, or metalworking, some type, even if it's like an art form for them.
Mm-hmm. I have a plasma table coming from Lagmere as soon as they ship out one of their new 4x8s. So hopefully in the next month or two, that'll be coming. And I have a Hypertherm 85 that I'm going to be pairing with that. So if nothing else, I'll get my kid on the computer and get him running cut files for me.
There you go. That'd be an awesome piece of equipment to have in the home shop, or like, where you're working at now. Because once you set that cut profile, you can start cutting out pieces and everything, and the machine's taking care of it, so you can still be over there fabricating and welding out everything else, and just, picking parts up on the CNC and throwing a new sheet down and rerunning the program. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do with it.
Yeah, it's unlimited. Like you see all the different stuff guys on Instagram are making and selling, like rod tube holders and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially
you be able to make all that kind of thing yourself.
You get access to a sheet metal brake?
I do. I have a 4-foot National heavy duty finger brake.
Okay. Yeah, you can do between that and a plasma cutter. or a CNC plasma cutter. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fortunate that I have 3 laser shops and a water jet all within about 20 minutes of me, or less. The closest laser shop's 2 blocks away. And really, the only reason I got a plasma table is more so just the convenience and the turnaround time. Just simple things. I mean, I send every plate cutting item to one shop or another. Mm-hmm. I usually have at least 2 shops tied up at a time between different items I'm having cut. And a lot of times it's just simple stuff, but I hate ripping plate with a plasma cutter or a circular saw. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
If I can outsource it, or if I can, like I said, with the plasma table coming, if I can cut it that way, that's just the way to do it.
Yeah. Then you're not paying them to cut it up for you. So now you get to still charge the same amount to your client, but now you're getting that profit and all those proceeds, and you're saving a trip and going down there and dealing with them and setting up all the paperwork and issuing invoices and payments and all that stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's a huge time saver. You'll be able to pick up a lot more work that way too, because people sometimes just need stuff cut out, just like you're getting with them, so now you could be a go-to guy for that.
Yep.
That's my buddy Brian the Gallio. He's got like a full side business going on, cutting out bow ties out of stainless steel for all the woodworkers. So it's like 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch little bow ties out of stainless steel. He cuts them out for different woodworkers, and they'll do inlays on a table to save a piece of wood where it's going to split. Especially if they're doing like live edge stuff. They'll save that and tie it together with a bow tie to hold it and reinforce it, and then they'll put that gel coat over top, or the clear resin epoxy, and stuff looks really cool when you start combining metal and wood that way. And since you're already doing furniture, I mean, that's one more thing you can do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea. I'll have to relay that message to my one furniture contact.
Yeah. And then I know Stephanie Hoffman, she does a lot of cool stuff for bars and tattoo shops and all kinds of stuff, and different restaurants. Where she did the sign for KWI. She's cut one out for Outlaw Leather. I mean, there's just endless possibilities you can do with a CNC plasma cutter.
Yeah. I mean, you can make a killing, just like you said, just doing that.
Yeah, you could have another side business going on.
Yeah. I'm actually going to set that up in my home shop. That way I can justify the business paying for my home shop rent.
Oh, nice. That's another added benefit to running your own business. You get a lot of different tax write-offs, and the tools and stuff you can start accumulating. You get to write a lot of that stuff off, but then it's a pain in the ass when you got to depreciate it. But there's still some benefits and savings and stuff in there.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the business, now that I'm self-employed, the business can pay for a lot more things. Garbage, phone bill. I mean, it all adds up.
Yeah. I use mine, like, cell phone payment, wear and tear on the vehicle. Like, a lot of that stuff it's all business related.
Yep.
Pay yourself rent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of little ins and outs and stuff you can get away with. All legal, of course. Keep it on the up and up. So do you find it more or less stressful working for yourself than you did? Like, because when you work for somebody else, I mean, a lot of that stress is alleviated. You just got to show up, do your job, and go home. But now, you got a lot riding on it. Yeah,
that's tough. I mean, it's more stressful in one and less in another. I mean, before, like I said, I was a foreman, so I was out running jobs, and I had to go meet with customers and do my own projects on site, plus keep however many guys on site on track and make sure everything was taken care of, and then go home and do my side stuff as well. When I was doing both, it seemed like my side projects weren't quite as big now that I'm doing it full time, but I definitely have a lot more hours in now doing it full time, non-billable hours than I did when I was doing both. Mm-hmm. And that's something I wouldn't have thought, how many non-billable hours I have between phone calls and emails and running and picking up materials, because I don't buy enough at a shop to make it worthwhile having a steel truck deliver. Mm-hmm. So there's a local shop that I buy from, and they buy so much that I can actually get it cheaper through them than I can direct through the supplier anyway. So usually once a week I'm taking my trailer over and getting whatever materials I need for the week, and running the welding store and back and forth, and that eats up a lot more of my day than I would have thought.
Yeah. Sending out invoices and everything like that, making sure everything's paid on time.
Yeah. It's nothing for me to still have 14, 15, 16 hours in a day, and only like 6 of it's billable now.
Yeah. That's the hard part about running a business. That's a lot of, what people don't see that goes on behind the scenes is all the non-billable hours that you got to put in.
Yeah, that's one thing I would not have thought.
You just got to figure out a way to recoup those hours in your expenses and costs and stuff.
Yeah, you definitely start to try and be a little more thoughtful as far as how I plan my day out and where I make my trips and when I make my trips and that sort of thing. Try and maximize my time. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of little things too. Hour or two projects here and there, and even just jumping between all those projects eats a lot of time. Till a customer shows up, drops something off, I get everything switched around because I was probably welding aluminum and they want something steel welded. Mm-hmm. So I switch around and so I call them again, say, hey, your piece is done. They come back and I get them an invoice together. I mean, there's more like 3 hours than you can only bill for one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hard part, is trying to find that balance and everything to where you're not, losing your ass. You're still making good money, and you're not charging a ridiculous amount to the customer to where, they're going to come back and get more work done.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to do is start nickel and diming people, because then word of mouth travels fast.
Yeah, it does.
So do you have any regrets about it, or do you think it was a better life, for you and your family working for somebody else, or do you think you're able to provide a better life kind of working on your own now?
No, I definitely think it's better on my own now. Even just being 4 months into it full time here, I definitely can tell I already wouldn't want to go back to doing what I was or really working for anybody, period. Um, Having the freedom and the leeway to set my schedule, even though I have so many hours tied up in a day, uh, being able to decide when I work on what projects and when I run and pick up materials and so on and so forth. Doing the mobile millwright thing that I was doing before full time, it was nothing to work on a job 3 hours away. So I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and getting home at 8, 9 o'clock at night. I did that for years and years.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to.
So now to be right down the street is crazy.
Nice to be able to hop on a pit bike and just scoot on down. That's what I need to do. I need to get a job close enough to where I can ride a pit bike to work. That's my new goal.
Yeah, man.
Because I've got a 50-minute commute one way to get out there to work now, and it's a pain in the ass, man.
It is. I mean, I was running a company truck before, and it still sucked. I mean, they were paying my fuel and everything, and my time to drive. But our shop was 45 minutes away from my house too. So even if I'm just working in the shop, there's an hour and a half out of my day.
Yeah.
Just driving back and forth to work.
Mm-hmm. So I see you. You also like to smoke meats and stuff like that. I see you out there cooking on the grill quite a bit.
Yeah. I'd like to do it more, but it's hard to. With as busy as I am, it's hard to justify tying up 12, 14-hour shift smoking something.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, I was looking at the pellet grills for the longest time, and Ryan Rhinop was the first one I saw that built one, and I was like, man, that thing's freaking cool. And I was still back and forth between buying one or making one, and it took me a lot longer to make one than I would have wanted. That's typically how all my projects go. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point that it was taking up too much space in my shop, and I had big projects going. It's like, you know what, I gotta get a fire in this thing and get it out of shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one you built that's freaking nice, and that kind of motivated me to get off my ass and build one. But not because I didn't. I was like, damn, like Sam just, he's got this badass smoker and stuff. Like I'm into smoking meats, and I was kind of thinking that I usually use the Brinkmans all the time, but they went out of business, and the small one that they sell now is just not really big enough to do anything other than like one chicken at a time. So I was like, I need something with more space. And then my kid's birthday party was coming up, and I usually like go all out. That's the one time a year that, I'll do 10 or 15 pound brisket and 15 to 20 pound of pulled pork and jalapeno poppers and all that good stuff. And it's like, man, I don't have enough time to build one. And I had a master built for a while. I think that only lasted for like 1 year, and then the whole bottom of it fell out. So I was like, screw it. And I went and bought one of the Pit Boss pellet grills, because everybody's like, oh, you just need to, relax, go get a pellet grill. And it's like, man, I really like, going out there and tending to the fire like every 2 hours. It's like, it's a process, it's like a labor of love. And now I can run my grill from my freaking cell phone, and it's like, don't get me wrong, it turned out freaking delicious, but there wasn't a whole lot of effort into it. It was like, okay, load the pellets in there, turn the button, hit the button on, power it up, set it to the temperature that I want, and throw the meat on.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to chopping my own wood and tending the fire and all that, but I'm pretty envious of the guys that can run the grill off their phone. I got a buddy who has his own HVAC business, and he'll shoot me a Snapchat or something from out on a job site, and he's like, yeah, I got a brisket on at home. Like, man.
Able to look at it and be like, oh, yeah, be done in about 6 more hours. Just about the time I get home, it'll be time to pull it off and wrap it.
Yep. Yeah, mine holds pretty consistent. I can go, if I'm using oak or something like that, I can usually go like an hour and a half before I need to check it or change the vents or add some more wood to it. Mm-hmm. Over the 4th, I made a 15-pound brisket and a 19-pound brisket.
Damn.
Yeah. And I probably still could have put one more like 10 or 15 pounder on there yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like, I wanted to make sure I had enough space, because like even when I had the Brinkmans, I'd have to make sure that, okay, I'm going to do the pulled pork first, and if I can get one of them off in time, then I can throw the brisket on there. And it was like, it turned into a mathematical equation, trying to figure out exactly how to time all this stuff. So the new grill I've got, I think it's 1,155 square inches on the inside. So it's like perfect. So it worked out awesome.
My daughter's favorite is beer butt chicken. You ever do any of those?
Yeah, I did a couple of those on the grill. I haven't done one on the smoker yet.
Oh, that's the way to do it, man.
That's the first thing I did for 4th of July. I had it, and I did 4 whole chickens, but I didn't do the I didn't do the beer can with them. But I probably should have. I did what the hell? I put it in a brine for 24 hours ahead of time, and then I pulled them out, dried them off, and then I injected them with Cajun butter, and then put like a dry rub seasoning on them, and then just threw them in the smoker. And it's got that's another cool feature is it's got probes with it. So I've got 2 probes. So I took the 2 biggest chickens, put one on the far left side, one on the far right side, put the 2 smaller ones in the middle, and probed the 2 big ones. And then, as soon as they hit temp, it was done. I got a little alert on my phone, went out there, lifted a lid, pulled everything off, let them rested for a little bit, covered them with foil, and then, just cut them apart, and they just fell apart. Delicious.
Yeah, man, that's the way to do it.
It's kind of nice.
I got the Weber one. You can, I guess it works. It's like a universal thing. It works for any grill. And it has up to 4 ports, and then you can download the app on your phone, and it has like 100-foot range, so I can read it from in the house if I'm close to a window.
Okay, that's what I had before. It wasn't Weber; it was some other brand. It was like shit. I can't. It's like Walmart store brand, but I mean, I've had those things for like 5 years, and they work great. A little wireless deal. You just walk around with a little monitor in your hand. It didn't link up to an app or anything, but I could check it and say, I want to pull it off at 205, so as soon as it hit 205 degrees, a little alarm would go off. That way it'd wake me up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But I had it timed about perfect to where like every 2 hours, I know I could go out there, throw a couple more pieces of wood on there. Like you said, check the vents, check the water level and stuff like that. Cause I usually put a pan of water in there with it just to keep everything from drying out. And I kind of miss it, but it's like, it's kind of nice having a pellet grill now. I think it was worth the investment. So I bought a cover on it, so it's not going to get all jacked up, and it's pretty damn solid. I guess it's made by the same guy that did, or one of the 2 guys that built Traeger. So I mean, it's pretty solid all the way around. It's a lot cheaper. It was available at Lowe's. I actually bought the Traeger first and got it home. Went to Lowe's that night to pick up some chain because I got a staghorn fern that fell, so I got to build a new basket for it. And then I seen the price on the Pit Boss and all the different features and the warranty. So I was like, well, screw that, man. This Pit Boss is like $400 cheaper. Took the Traeger back the next day, went over to Lowe's and grabbed the Pit Boss, took it home and set it up, and it works great.
Yeah, I know a couple of people that have them, and I've heard good things about them.
Yeah. Before I bought it, I talked to my buddy up in Pennsylvania, Kyle Linko, and he was like, oh, dude, you're gonna love it because he does a lot. He smokes like everything. He smokes freaking Oreos wrapped in bacon. Which I guess he's like, don't judge me. You got to try it for yourself. And I was supposed to do it.
That guy's got a problem.
I was supposed to do it a couple weekends ago. Well, he's got like an advisory committee for his school, and he says they're like his guinea pigs. So he'll just see something either on like Pinterest or Google, or he'll come up with an idea on his own, and then he'll make it, and then he'll pass it out to his advisory committee. And so he's like, the first time I made it, he's like, they couldn't get enough of it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to try this. It sounds like it shouldn't go together, but there's other things that sound like they shouldn't go together, and they work out pretty good. So why not?
Yeah, I'll try them next time.
Well, if you get it before I do, let me know, man. I'm still hesitant. I went out and bought Oreos and everything, and then completely forgot about it. And by the time I got done cooking for the kid's birthday, I was like, I'm done. Like, even though I didn't have to monitor the grill every 2 hours and stay up the entire night, putting all that stuff together, and I marinate the Boston butts or the pork shoulders. I'll marinate those.
Yep.
And then I'll inject them the next day, and then do the dry rub on the biscuit and cutting up all the jalapenos. I mean, it was like I was still cooking for damn near 24 hours. So by the time I remembered, it was like, oh shit, I forgot to do the Oreos. I was like, screw it, I'll get it next time.
Yeah. At that point, I'd say so. You got a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. It's the one time a year I go all out. My wife's like, I don't know why you do this to yourself. And it's like, it's a labor of love. It's the one time I get to go all out and cook, and I've got, 20 people coming over to the house, and they can't wait to eat. So I like that part. I like being the grill guy in the family.
Yep. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's an art in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can screw it up really quick. I've seen people. He was telling me that he can do, I think, pulled pork in like 5 hours. So I was like, I've got to figure out. He does it on a high heat, but he can still pull it when he's done. And I'm like, okay,
foil wrap maybe.
I guess I gotta find out his secret. Because I mean, hell, that'd save me 16 hours.
Yeah, I'm addicted to the Meat Church channel. I don't know if you follow them or not, but I was watching. They were doing all kinds of comparisons on like butcher paper wrap versus foil wrap and all kinds of different stuff like that. How much faster foil wrap is. So next time I'm in a pinch, you got to get it done sooner or something. I want to try the foil wrap.
Okay, yeah, I've done that before a couple times. The Texas crutch.
Yeah.
That's usually when I pull it. That's the first thing I do, man. Once it hits temp, I wrap it up in foil, wrap it up in a towel, and then throw it in a cooler and let it set for an hour or 2 hours. And then by the time you pull it back out, man, it's perfect. That's the thing. Everybody pulls it off too early, but you got to realize, like, once you pull it off the smoker, it's still cooking on the inside. You can check it with a meat thermometer. It'll raise up about another 10 degrees once you pull it off the grill.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it can set at least an hour, if not 2 hours, that's even better.
Yeah, that's what I did that for the kid's birthday party. I let everything set for 2 hours. Just left it in the cooler wrapped up, and I was like, now we wait. Well, shit, man, it was good having you on the show. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and everything. I know you're busy running your business and everything, but I appreciate you kind of giving the insight on your journey. Jumping from working for the man to working for yourself, and sounds like it's been pretty lucrative for you, and you're doing well with it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
No problem, man. Go ahead and plug all your different social medias and how people can get a hold of you if they want to. I don't know. Are you still doing merch?
Yeah, occasionally. I'm getting a new logo made, so as soon as that's done, then I'm going to get some more shirts made. So
okay, let me know when that happens.
Next month or so, I'll be posting them.
I'll definitely pick up a shirt. That shirt that you sent me, I probably wear that thing twice a week. It is the most comfortable shirt.
Everybody loves them.
I wear it everywhere. So you got to put me in contact with what type of fabric that is, because it's I love it. Perfect fit, and it's comfortable.
Yeah, everybody loves them. Everybody says their wives steal them.
Yeah, I told my wife, I was like, you can't have this one. I've got like 2 shirts, and yours is one of them. It's like, you're not getting this one. But yeah, how can
I'll be posting them when they show up.
Okay, how can people get a hold of you if they want you to do some work for them, or if they want you to do some work for them, or plug your socials?
Yeah, so I'm Sam Welds on Instagram. I think my email, my phone number's on there, and Facebook is Fortitude Weld Fab. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome, man. Well, once again, I appreciate you coming out.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in and downloading the show. Don't forget you can pick up Arc Junkies hats, shirts, and hoodies by going to arcjunkies.com and clicking on the merch tab. All orders come with a free Arc Junkie sticker pack. Stay safe out there, and until next time, make every weld better than your last.